Yeah, I guess just like I was saying earlier, my takeaways with this are that this is completely Kukri's story for this team, and that Ash and Betty are just along for the ride. We might find out a little bit more because I mean, this whole thing with the what was it called, the something Crucible of Souls. Um, Maybe that's gonna have some type of tie into Ash, like what happens at the end of this arc or tournament. Is he gonna go bye bye, right?
This wasn't written with your comfort in mind. Nah. Made my decision, wasn't tough to decide. Nah. Me and my boys, we get it done every time. Gotta earn it, you can't just jump in the line. You'll get rushed to the side. I top my division, I've been building since I started. In the parking lot, I parked it. I came in while picking targets. My career cannot be tarnished. I'm a champion regardless. Celebrate, but this is a different kind of lucha party. We are not alike.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Mikhail Casanova back at you with another video. You already know what it is. We're basically at this point. I don't know why I say I'm tired. We're about to dive into looking at the team story. Team 13, Team Ash, just dropped today. So we're gonna look at that and see what all is going on. It's probably give us a little bit more clues as to what's going on with the plot for KOF 15. And yeah, I'm excited to dive into it. And also, I want to thank everyone who voted on the community tab poll. For those of you who are unaware, I am not receiving a review copy of KOF 15, which is interesting. I was told I would be. Now apparently I'm not. So I don't know. Like I really don't know what all is going on with that. But I'm not going to stress it. It is what it is. But I did ask you guys if you wanted me to continue making content surrounding King of Fighters and KOF and SNK games in general. You guys said yes overwhelmingly. So here we are with it. And yeah. Before we dive into this video, make sure you like the video, sub if you haven't already, and share it around with someone you think would enjoy it. Also, if you want to support the content, we got Patreon, channel memberships, and the like. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. All right. Team Ash. We're going to go ahead and look at the story that they have. So, team story. It says, everything began the moment he took that hand. He had survived in harsh desert streets for as long as he could remember. No parents or guardians to speak of. His only concern was his life. He spent his days in the shadows, out of sight of passerby, holding his breath so that he could survive another day. That woman was the first person in his entire life who'd made eye contact with him. To the young Kukri, she was destiny incarnate. Come with me. You shall learn under my tutelage. The moment he grasped the woman's outstretched hand, Kukri became her disciple. I'm assuming this is Dolores. Kukri's teacher was a hermit living in the back regions of an African desert. She was a sole storyteller of forgotten folklore, and at times she was an advisor to people. Using her metaphysical abilities to communicate with spirits, life as her disciple was hardly luxurious, but it was peaceful. Peaceful. Kukri never had to fear for his life or wonder when he'd have his next meal. Still, he couldn't stand his master's dull instructions. She spoke passionately of a universe of possibilities that branched off at infinite junctions, a crucible of souls traversing the universes to maintain equilibrium, the mother goddess governing destruction and creation. But it was all old wives' tales to the boy. Not once during meditation did he hear this voice of the earth his master spoke of, and before long he grew tired of her fervorous storytelling. Inevitably, he would snap and ask, "What's the point of all this?" And every time she would offer the same response with a gentle smile. You too shall comprehend destiny one day. That life would end when Kukri had grown much taller, 7 years into his disciplehood. One day, a sharp impulse struck him from the inside out as if piercing his body through, and Kukri awakened to his power of sand. But instead of simply appearing, the power ran amok against his will, whipping up a fierce sandstorm and robbing moisture from its surroundings. His master had unfortunately gone to the city, and by the time she'd returned, Kukri's power could no longer be contained. Amid the tempest, he feverishly cried out for her to save him. Eyes filled with resolve, the master dove headfirst into the sandstorm to rescue her disciple. In exchange for her own life, his memories of the time were hazy. All Kukri could remember were his master's irritatingly satisfied smile and the empty hollow of the grave he spent a day to dig for her. Damn. Okay. That evening, after giving his master a proper burial, the words Kukri had always heard during her teachings rose clearly in his mind. The crucible of souls connects all universes, converging all possibilities in the multiverse. However, these can only be perceived as illusions, and only a limited few are capable of meddling with them. Those with such abilities are known as amplified specters. Neither the crucible of souls nor these illusions appear naturally on this side. But if there are distortions in space-time or resonance with amplified specters, such circumstances may entice them to manifest on this plane. Kukri shot into the archives of his home and scoured through the literature, relying on his memory of the text. The desk was piled high with scrolls, and its legs began to groan under the weight of stone slabs. Kukri paid it no mind, grabbing anything he could find and throwing it on the heap. Do bear this in mind. Were the crucible of souls to appear in this world, allow not evildoers to approach. That power is incredibly dangerous. Theoretically, it could even revive the dead. As he skimmed through a text he'd recklessly thrown open, his hand had suddenly stopped at a certain passage. Hungrily taking in the knowledge, Kukri ruminated on his master's words. Theoretically, it could even revive the dead. The words he'd brushed off before now ironically told him of his last remaining possibility. Without a second to lose, he set out in pursuit of his goal. After scraping together the information he needed, he arrived at the King of Fighters tourney put on by Antonov. It was his final destination, or so he thought. All that Kukri found there was Ash Crimson, who had been revived by the aforementioned Crucible of Souls. His master, however, was nowhere to be found. Interesting. So that's why he was at that ending. But also he was hired by, what's her name? Elisabeth. In a city in southern France, an open terrace faces the main street. A man sits there gesturingly why did I say that? A man sits there gesturing wildly as he rattles on. All my efforts up to now, just a lonely fart in the wind. What the hell do I have to show for them? A pile of worthless papers and this dickhead, Ash Crimson here. My dear sweet master, who guided me in my youth and sacrificed herself to protect me, is nowhere to be found. And so, the poor bastard you see before you has been left behind in loneliness and solitude. And what's more, his suspiciously hooded face and unrefined language contrast sharply against the gaudy, elegant atmosphere of the establishment. One by one, customers nearby retreat to indoor seating, hoping to escape the torrent of unending dribble disrupting their peaceful afternoon. By the time the man's rant is finished, the only ones left on the terrace are the boys sitting across from him and an upper-class woman, also beside him, who was listening patiently despite the frown on her face. The hooded man, Kukri, spreads his arms at the pair. He does that. Oh, God. He spreads his arms at the pair in an exaggerated gesture. And thus ends my impromptu tale, a miserable, heart-rending story guaranteed to leave not a dry eye in the room. Heck, in the entire world. What do you think? Pretty good for something I thought up in 5 seconds, huh? I've got a hanky if you need a honk. You need to honk some snot. That was pretty good. Not a bad way to kill some time. Goodness gracious. Ash Crimson chuckles at his smartphone, neglecting the half-eaten sachet tort? I'm guessing pastry in front of him. Elisabeth Blondhorsch, on the other hand, puts a hand to her brow and sighs deeply. Before the previous tournament had begun, Kukri had made contact with the grief-stricken Elisabeth and helped her to recall her memories of Ash. In exchange for reviving Ash, Kukri sought the cooperation of the Blondhorsch family, to which the noblewoman assented without hesitation. As a result, Ash is once again by her side as if nothing had happened, and yet, what's that sigh for? You're the one who waited and moaned for me to talk. I made up this tearjerker just for you, just like the nice guy I am. Kukri thrusts a bandaged finger at the woman. Sand scatters onto the table, and Ash wordlessly pulls the usher talked closer to himself. You are our benefactor. We shall accompany you wherever we must in order to repay our debt of gratitude. Elisabeth speaks in a low, stern voice, pointedly ignoring the finger in front of her face. I was simply curious as to why you extended a hand to us in the first place. No matter the reason, neither Ash nor myself have any intention of ridiculing your circumstances. There is nothing to laugh about. Her eyes fall to the cup in her hand with dejection, while Kukri maintains his imposing stance. Glancing between the two, Ash smirks in amusement. Let it go, Betty. We just have to play the part of Cookie's crew, and help him do what he's got to do at the KOF, right? Who the hell are you calling Kookie, you little twerp? You remind me of another piece of work, and I ain't having it. He's referring to Shune. Oh, look, they're doing a special feature. Ignoring Kukri's objection, Ash puts his smartphone on the table. The device shows a news program, large letters reading, "The King of Fighters," flash across the screen, and Kukri goes silent. Even Elisabeth takes a deep breath as if shifting gears. Next up, we have an exclusive interview with a participant from the KOF. Take a sneak peek inside the mind of a fighter. The feed switches from the studio to a city street showing a woman standing opposite the interviewer. So, Dolores, this will be your first foray into the KOF. How do you feel about it? The woman pushes up her golden frames and faces the camera. Kukri's jaw clenches at the sight of her. He stands up without a word. When he finally speaks, the lower register of his voice betrays the emotion underneath. I remember some urgent business. I'll go on ahead. With this declaration, Kukri walks briskly out of the establishment, his coat fluttering behind him. Incensed at his egocentric behavior, Elisabeth also stands from her seat. Hold on, we're not finished speaking, Kukri. Elisabeth's heel clack against the cobblestones in hot pursuit. Keeping her in the corner of his eye, Ash glances at the leftover cake on the table. He made it up, huh? Sure. He made it up, huh? Sure. Stabbing a silver fork into his dessert. I said desert. I'm so fucking tired. His dessert. Ash Crimson chuckles softly. All right, then. Might as well play along. He mutters in a voice barely audible and with a smack of his lips eats up the final bite. Okay, so basically what this is, my interpretation of all of this, from what we've learned, technically this should be Team Kukri instead of Team Ash, because it seems like Elisabeth and Ash really don't have much involvement in this story at all. Like, this is not their story. And this is kind of one of the problems that kind of lends itself to KOF in general. Like, when characters are not the central focus or teams are not the central focus, they just kind of do fuck all. So, this is Kukri's story. It should be Team Kukri, but I guess for the sake of marketing, Team Ash is more recognizable. Although also it could be that Ash is the one who registered the team for the foray. So there's that. They kept referring to Kukri kept referring to Ash as a boy. So is he still 16 or 17 years old? I'm curious. But we'll go ahead and look at the individual team story character stories. So Ash Crimson, mocking firelight. His tagline is, "I can play with you for a little bit." A descendant of Psyche, the leader of those from the past, this young man was once thought to be erased from time. Wielding flames of emerald and an arrogant smile, Ash teams with Kukri to help him complete his goal. His fighting style, personal style that fits his flames, using special flames. Birth date, February 14th. Birthplace, raised in France, blood type 0, favorite food type, sausage tort. So he's pretty easy to use with. So Bellamy, our main man Bellamy, his interview. What do you do on your days off? Huh? What is it that I do anyways? I kid. And then Bellamy asks, why did you join this tournament? Go easy, will ya? My body still needs a bit more time to wake up. How do you feel about going to your first tournament? I've got butterflies in my stomach, believe you me. That's funny. How do you feel going into your first tournament? Ash has been in 3 tournaments. But you know, because of the whole Those from the Past arc of the Tales of Ash saga, nobody remembers him except for Elisabeth. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I've got butterflies in my stomach, believe you me. Have any fighters piqued your interest? No one really. I mean, I'm the strongest, aren't I? What would you do with the prize money? I think I made some kind of promise. Totally forgot though. Anything to say to your fans? Cuckoo. He's such a fucking prick. I love this guy. Alright, so let's look at Kukri. Sharp Tongue Sandman. Kukri. Says his tagline is today's weather, severe sandstorms. Always scheming between the cracks of society, Kukri can bury anyone who challenges him with his sand-based techniques. His true visage is unknown as his hood constantly blocks his face. He wrangles both Ash and Elisabeth both into joining him this KOF in order to fulfill his plan. His fighting style is Hot Sand Assassin's Fist. Birth date is unknown. Birthplace, he's been to Mali before, according to Ash. Blood type unknown. Favorite food is duck confit. Duck confit or confetti? Confit? Probably according to Elisabeth. Alright. So, Bellamy, he says, what are you doing your days off? If I answered that, everyone and their grandma would know how I spend my time. Would you be liable for damages if some stalker ruins my life? If you ain't ready to foot the bill, don't go around exposing a guy's whereabouts like it's nothing. Watch it or I'll sue your ass into the ground. God damn, Kukri, my guy, chill. Sheesh. It reminds me of myself. Anyways, why did you join this tournament? I wonder if you'd even get it. Nah, I doubt it. That's just how noble my purpose is. But hey, still, if you're so determined to waste your time to ask, then I guess I got to answer, right? I came to meet someone. Have any fighters piqued your interest? Legs. That's all I care about. What is your relationship with participant Dolores? A total stranger. Never heard that name in my life. What would you do with the prize money? I solemnly swear I will not use the money for selfish desires, but for society at large. I'll be contributing to a good cause, desertification of the world. This fucking guy, I swear. Anything to say to your fans? Alright, Bellamy, let me level with you here. Seeing as you're one of my 8 billion precious fans out there, I have a special request for you. Do some of that investigative journalism you're so famous for, and get some of those bozo fighters canceled for me, won't you? Bellamy, don't worry. KOF fans, I won't do anything of that sort. Get them canceled. Bruh. Yo, he's a fucking troll, and I love it. Alright, Elisabeth Blantorch. She's the will of light. Her tagline is, only when you lose your pride do you face true defeat. Understood? Alright, a childhood friend of Ash, Elisabeth is part of the Blantorch bloodline, a family tasked with stopping those from the past. She joins this KOF to honor her debt to Kukri. Elisabeth is far more strict with herself than others and maintains a righteous and principled mindset that refuses to make concessions. Controlling light, her fights tend to dazzle any onlookers likely to catch a glimpse of her in action. Her fighting style is Blanc-style martial arts plus light fist technique. Birth date, November 1st. Birthplace, France. Blood type A. Her favorite food is wine, Chateau Latour. I like that line too. What do you do in your days off? I strive to fill my days with meaning, doing what I must so as to live without regret. Why did you join this tournament? I'm here to provide assistance based on a compact of mutual aid. Have any fighters piqued your interest? Benimaru Nakaido. I do not look forward to the prospect of trouncing an old acquaintance. Is there something a little bit more there? I know they've been partners before. What is it, KOF 11? But is there something deeper there? I mean, knowing Benimaru, he's probably trying to get in the pants anyway. Quite a different lineup for this tournament, isn't it? My teammates may have changed, but I have not. Still, I would like to team up with Duo Lan and Benimaru Nakaido again someday. Referencing KOF 11. So that means a Duo Lan might be DLC because of that statement. What would you do with the prize money? I will use it to support my family. Anything to say to your fans? I vow not to sully the name of the Blantosh family. And there you have it, guys. That's the team story for Team Ash, as well as their individual profiles. Yeah, I guess just, like I was saying earlier, my takeaways with this are that this is completely Kukri's story for this team, and that Ash and Betty are just along for the ride. We might find out a little bit more because, I mean, this whole thing with the, what was it called? The something Crucible of Souls. Maybe that's going to have some type of tie into Ash, like what happens at the end of this arc or tournament. Is he going to go bye-bye, right? And as far as Kukri, I mean, they're kind of acknowledging SNK, what is it, the Heroin Fighters game, which is canon, where he had his own little pocket dimension. So it's kind of interesting seeing the different facets of Kukri as a character. Dude, he's fucking interesting. He's hilarious. And then we've got Elisabeth, who's just repaying a debt. Maybe it's me, but I kind of feel like this kind of undermines Ash and Elisabeth even being here, because they're not. Again, this shouldn't be Team Ash. It should be Team Kukri. Like they're not really that involved in this. This is, yeah. I'm hoping we'll find out more when we play the story, which we can play the game. If you pre-ordered Deluxe Edition, you can play this week, I believe, starting on the 10th, I believe. So it's coming Thursday at the time of this recording. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I like learning more about Kukri because he's been a mystery for the last 5 to 6 years. Now we're learning a lot more about his background. He does have definite ties to Dolores, from what I'm understanding. If we're looking at what his ending was with his team in KOF 14, aside from being contracted by Betty, Dolores is his master, and he's looking to resurrect her, even though he's looking to kill her. But yeah, he's looking to resurrect her. She's resurrected. So we're going to see what the dynamic is between those two. When sand meets mud. So it's going to be interesting. But outside of that, what do you guys think about this team story, the individual character stories, the interviews with, Bellamy? Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. If you enjoyed this reaction, or not, damn, I'm saying the wrong damn things at the wrong time. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, yeah, it is a reaction. Fuck it. This reaction to what we find out about the story for Team Ash, my analysis and breakdown. Make sure you like the video, sub to the channel if you haven't already, ding the notification bell, that way you stay up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes from this channel. There's going to be way more KOF content dropping this week, so stay tuned for that. All that being said, hope to see you guys in the next one. Become a channel member or Patreon supporter if you want to support the content, and all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. And if you found anything of importance or substance that you gained from watching this, make sure you leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure you sub to the channel and ding the notification bell. That way you stay up to date on all the content that you get from my channel, from podcasts, streams, reviews, impressions, reactions, and so much more. If you want to support what we do have channel memberships. We've got Patreon, we've got Subscribestar, as well as coffee, which I would love to be drinking some coffee right now, which I am. That's some good coffee. But anyway, we got all of that, and we also have merch on Teespring and TeePublic, so make sure you go check that out. And all that being said, I just hope to see you in the next video that I put out. So hey, see you around.